The member for Orleans has risen to continue the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we've seen a remarkable attempt by this government to pivot from the disaster that characterized their first 2 years in office. But, Mr. Speaker, Ontarians won't quickly forget. They won't forget that a government that cancelled paid sick days for the most vulnerable workers, often workers that are on the front lines who we've come to rely on during the COVID-19 emergency. They won't forget a government that eliminated the increase to minimum wage, effectively cutting the pay of these frontline workers, costing them $6,700 in lost wages. These are lost wages that are also lost opportunities. The bills have piled up. Parents have missed out on childcare, and students have worked overtime just in order to pay their tuition. Mr. Speaker, this is the Premier and the government that eliminated equal pay for equal work. Now, who could be against that? We do the same job, we should get the same pay. Apparently, Mr. Speaker, this Premier and this government is against equal pay for equal work. But, Mr. Speaker, let's not forget that the Premier's greatest hits don't end there. Shortly before the pandemic, this is the government that decided to cut $200 million. Cut $200 million from public health, Mr. Speaker. Surely this hurt our response to COVID-19. They cut OHIP Plus for families, so that families with sick kids will have to pay out of pocket for their prescriptions and hope that they might get reimbursed from their insurance companies. They cut $330 million from planned mental health spending, Mr. Speaker, and they capped the pay for frontline nurses, effectively cutting their pay after you account for inflation. And while we've heard prominent Conservatives talk about inflation, that it's out of control. Now imagine your pay being slashed or your pay being frozen in the face of what the Conservatives are calling out of control inflation. Now, the pandemic has offered, Ford Government 2.0, and with the fall economic statement, there was hope that maybe things would change, Mr. Speaker, but that hope was quickly dashed. Nobody can argue that affordability in Ontario is out of control. The cost of heating your home is up. The cost of electricity is up. The cost of food is up. The cost of gas is up. The cost of housing is up and up and up, Mr. Speaker. The one thing that this government tried to control, the one cost this government tried to control, the cost of beer, even the cost of beer is up, Mr. Speaker. Affordability in Ontario is out of control, and this government has absolutely no plan to address affordability. With Bill 43, the government had the opportunity to help families, but they didn't do that, Mr. Speaker. Instead of releasing a plan for Ontario families that we're all looking for, Ontario families are looking for this plan, Mr. Speaker. Bill 43 failed to deliver. The government has offered average families almost nothing to get through the challenges they're facing, challenges they were facing before COVID, challenges that COVID has only made worse. Ontario Liberals are offering a different approach, Mr. Speaker. We want to offer average families, middle-class families, opportunities to move forward. We want to offer them $8,000 in incentives to buy or lease green electric vehicles to get them into the EV market, Mr. Speaker. We want to help them drive safely in the wintertime by providing incentives to buy winter tires, Mr. Speaker. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, we want to help them with the cost of childcare by bringing in $10 a day childcare. That's not only good for families, it's good for the economy. It will bring hundreds of thousands of Ontarians back into the workforce, mostly women back into the workforce, bringing billions of dollars in economic activity, Mr. Speaker. That's what Ontario Liberals stand for. Unfortunately, we don't have a government that believes in helping middle-class families.
Thank you.